Well, thanks for visiting this video and learning more about what we do with business owners and how we work. And this video is about what we do and why we do it, and in some cases how we do it. And I'm Tom Perrone from New England Consulting Group. And today I'd like to talk to you about exactly what we do for business owners and who we work with. First of all, who do we work with and why? Well, we work with small business owners, and they're typically growing, but they're really not sure that their growth is by design and stable, or is it just luck? So they don't have a real handle on why they're growing, and they want the answers to that. Their focus is fully in their business, but they are, like I said, painfully aware that they're neglecting a lot of the key business and financial elements which are vital to any business and vital to any financial independence that you're looking for. We feel they need a destiny plan, and this is to create a pathway, because ultimately the bottom line, they want an ideal business life and a lot of financial security. That's normally why they're in business. They want to maximize their company value for transition in the future. In other words, they understand they're building a value, but they want to maximize it. And to do that, you need a destiny plan. It doesn't happen by mistake. It usually happens by design. And most of the people we've ever dealt with have told us that they really do need advice. They need to be pointed in the right direction. They don't want things to be so complicated, and they don't want to spend excessive time. That's why we created the 2 hours a month process, which is basically, if a small business gives us 2 hours a month to work with them, we can work with them on their business 2 hours a month, and over a period of months get a lot of these issues resolved. So therefore, they have the rest of the time to work in their business, which is what they prefer. So I need to ask you some questions, and you need to ask yourself some questions. First of all, do you have a plan to grow, protect, and transition your business? And is it fail-safe? When you leave your business, either by death, disability, or retirement, do you have a plan to take your business equity with you at the greatest possible value and in the most tax-effective manner? Is that a plan you have now? Have you maximized your executive compensation benefits for you and your family through your company? In most cases, most people are doing it inefficiently. They're paying taxes on their compensation and creating wealth in their 401ks and their IRAs. But through benefit planning, you can create more effectively and efficiently wealth outside the business, obviously effectively tax-wise. I call it creating a zero tax wealth through compensation planning. And if this is something new to you, we should talk, and certainly a phone call, I'll go over that with you. But you have, as a business owner, great opportunities to create a zero tax wealth through your compensation planning, which is the cash flow of your business. So are you taking advantage of the tax laws of distribution so you avoid the unnecessary taxes, probate, and the time of delay at your death? You know, in 2025, the exemption credit for estate and gifts are designed to sunset, and they're very high now, but we might be in shock in 2025 when the government sunsets that, if not before. They need money, and dead people don't vote, so this is a good area to start reviewing. Do you have answers to the what ifs? What if you died, became disabled, or wanted to retire today? What's going to happen to your business? What if you lost your key employee or your key group? What if they went to somebody else? Where are you with your business with that situation? Do you have a plan B? What happens if you can't control a bad economy? COVID-19 sticks right out. What happened was in 2008, we had a bad economy, we had the recession, and then we get hit in 2020, 10 years later. Tough to absorb, but again, if you had plan B and maybe plan C, these are answers you would have had and you would have been prepared. And maybe you were. Well, what happens if you just run out of steam and you just decide that you want to retire and take your company wealth? Do you have a plan to get that out? But more importantly, where I talk about long-term goals, what I have found is that many people who are mulling over long-term plans and haven't really gotten them really don't have an emergency plan. And that question is, what if you were in an accident last night and died? What is the emergency plan you have for your business and your family? Those are tough questions. So how do we work with people? Well, there's 4 areas in which I call the business and financial elements that are key and have an impact on your success or failure down the road with your business. The first part is growth. And this is really about how do you grow your business? How do you get it so that you don't plateau out and you have metrics that you know you're growing? It doesn't happen by accident. You need things like value drivers, you need management, you need key groups. You need to be able to delegate tasks so that you're working on the primary functions that you're good at. These all take a lot of time. And to build value in your business, the growth patterns and the paradigms that you set up take a long time to create that future wealth. But these are the elements that create wealth in your business, but they're long term. And although I'm not a growth specialist, I have associates in a network of very bright people that work with this type of planning. That if this is some area that you're not working in, we can certainly refer you to our network. Protection, that's the what is of the business. What happens if you die? What happens if you have a disability, a long illness? What happens if a partner dies? These are the areas that we get involved with through buy and sell agreements, key man coverages, things that where there can be a capital loss. How do we replace that loss? What's the most economic way? And we audit that. A perfect example would be you borrow money from the bank and there's a death. Now the bank wants to recall this loan. It could be a death of your key person. It could be your death. They want that money back. That could cause a lot of pain in a business if the business can survive it. The equity part of the business is not only the area of what's happening with the growth of the company, but what are you doing with the company's cash flow for yourself and your family and your key people and your rank and file? Because there's a lot of compensation issues and programs that are much more efficient and effective for you as a person and your family than you trying to do it through your own personal checkbook. I've often said employers, owners of businesses, have too much wealth in their business. So when they need that wealth for one reason or another to get it out of their business, they find it very difficult to get it out, very tax inefficient to get it out. So we spend a lot of time in the equity part of the business to show you how to use your cash flow and your corporate assets more efficiently. Transition. This is really all about what happens to this business down the road. Do I sell it to a third party? Do I sell it to the family members? And if so, who's going to take over? Do I sell it to the employee group, an ESOP? What have I done to set up that arrangement? Because again, that takes time. And we talk about that in the sense that transition also means what happens to your part of the business, your ownership of the business. We take a look at the business buy and sell agreements. What are the triggering events? Are they funded? Are the agreements up to snuff? You know, a lot of times we see agreements where they talk about what's going to happen, but there's A, no funding, and B, they haven't covered some of the other triggering events that can happen. So again, if you don't have a transition plan, it's something that you start right away. It's like buying a home and always keeping it up to date, because you never know who's going to knock on the door that wants it. Well, the same thing with a business. Once you start and open a business, it's time to start thinking of transition, which may even be 30 years down the road. But you need to keep it up to date, and we help you put together a pathway through the Destiny Plan to keep the transition part of your business open. And we do this through a business and benefit one-page solution blueprint program that we designed many years ago. And this is the plan that creates the Destiny Plan. And it's really very simple. What we did here is we took the 15 to 20 elements of business planning, and we had our business owners pick the top tasks that they wanted to accomplish. We took one at a time, and we delegated 2 hours a month until that was done. Then we moved to the next one. And over time, we were able to complete the major areas that needed planning, and now we're fine-tuning and not restructuring. So we have a method and a process that's easy, saves time, and is very, very cost effective. So the key business and financial elements that we work with are the growth, protection, the equity, and the transition. We have a little tool called the 2-minute scorecard. It literally takes 2 minutes to complete. And if you're interested and want to take a small step as to where am I, where do I fit in this picture? I have a business, I'm working it, but where am I in regards to an assessment? This little tool really helps us out. And if you'd like it, just email me, put scorecard on the subject line, and I will send you what you need, and we'll take a look at it, and for free we'll give you an audit and assessment of where you're very strong and maybe where you're weak and you need some work in, and that's something to start with. You know, my dad, I wrote a book, I'll talk about it in a moment, but my dad died at 51, and his successful business within 3 years was liquidated for pennies on the dollar. And I often wondered how many people called on my dad for planning to get work done, where he was so busy in his business he didn't want to spend the time, and he died with the business being sold for pennies on the dollar, leaving the ones he loved the most behind with very, very few assets to work with. And it's in my book on chapter 10, and you might want to read it. I'd be more than happy to send it to you. But here's my point. I can't be bothered to see any pesky salesman. I've got a battle to fight. We all have a battle to fight, and that's to make sure that our businesses are fine-tuned so that we get the most potential benefit out of our businesses to use for retirement, family security, and what I call the destiny path, and that's to get to financial freedom. So I do have a book that I published this year, 2020, and it's called Unlocking Your Business DNA. It's a great book. I think it is. It's my 50 years of advice to business owners, and it's built around my family situation, as I had mentioned before. And if you'd like to have an ebook, you can email me and ask for Business DNA. I'd be more than happy also to send you the paper book. However, I might add that I do offer this book on Amazon, and any profits go to the Wounded Warrior Project. And also, we have the Building and Protecting Your Business Worth podcast, which you should tune in because that's where we have business owners, are our guests and professionals, and they come on and talk about the strategies and ideas they're using that made their business successful, and also giving us ideas of what didn't work for them so we can avoid them. And I do 3 or 4 episodes a month, but you can get it on Apple Podcasts or any of the major sites. And if you would like to be a guest, if you're a business owner, then certainly email me and just put podcast guest. I'd be more than happy to get in contact with you about it. So I want to thank you for taking the time to visit this video to learn more about what we do. And we're very serious about our planning. We do have a system. We have a procedure. It's a procedure that helps business owners get the work done economically, both time and cost.